Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. Abihai, the fourth primary consort of Nurhaci, the founding emperor of the later Qing Dynasty, faced a unique fate in history. After establishing the later Qing, Nurhaci did not refine the imperial harem system, and terms like consorts, wives, and noblewomen were not yet in use. These would only be formalized during the Guangxu era. At that time, the title Empress referred to the Defei, great consort, while others were called Shao Fujin, small consort. Nurhaci had a total of 4 Defei, with our main character, Abihai, being the last. She is also the only empress in Qing history who was compelled to die alongside her husband. Her tragic fate reflects the power struggles of the early Qing dynasty and reveals the helplessness of women in a feudal society. According to historians, Abihai was born into the Ula clan of the Jurchen people and was the daughter of the nobleman Ulanara Mantai, celebrated as the second beauty of Manchuria. Her family background made her an ideal candidate for a political marriage from a young age. In 1601, at the age of 12, Abihai was married to Nurhaci, who was 31 years her senior. Despite her youth, she quickly won Nurhaci's favor in the harem. When Nurhaci first saw Abihai, he was captivated by her beauty. She was blossoming into a lovely young woman, and Nurhaci, in the prime of his life, found it hard to resist her charm. Perhaps because she grew up in a dependent situation, Abihai understood how to win people over and soon became Nurhaci's favorite concubine. Within a year, she was granted the title of Defei, becoming the highest-ranking consort in Nurhaci's harem at just 13 years old. At 15, Abihai gave birth to a son named Aji-gu, Nurhaci's 12th child. Shortly after, she had another son, Dorgan, Nurhaci's 14th, followed by another son, Duo, and a daughter who sadly passed away early. Later, when Abihai's uncle, Buzantai, fell out with Nurhaci and was annexed, Abihai's status remained unaffected, and she continued to be Nurhaci's most beloved Defei. With many sons, Nurhaci had numerous contenders for the throne. The 3 sons Abihai bore were legitimate heirs and strong rivals for the throne. But they were still very young. Aware of the potential dangers, Abihai felt the need for a protector as Nurhaci aged. In the Jurchen tradition, a son could marry his father's concubine after the father's death. Nurhaci had mentioned that if he were to pass away, his second son, Daisan, could marry Abihai. While it may have been said casually, Abihai took this to heart and began to get closer to Daisan, frequently checking on him. All of this was noted by another of Nurhaci's sons, Huang Taiji, who was known for his ruthless nature. Seizing the opportunity, he secretly instigated gossip, claiming that Abihai was having an affair with Daisan. This accusation was indeed a powerful blow. No man could bear the humiliation of being cuckolded, and Nurhaci was no exception. Enraged, he was reluctant to kill Abihai but could no longer tolerate her presence. Following further allegations of her hoarding gold and silver, Nurhaci, pushed to his limits, divorced Abihai. However, after a year apart, Nurhaci missed Abihai deeply and, forgetting past grievances, brought her back and reinstated her as Defei. It must be said that Abihai had a remarkable charm. In 1626, Nurhaci embarked on a campaign to expand his territory, targeting the Ming fortress of Ningyuan, defended by the renowned general Yuan Chonghuan. At 68, Nurhaci was already advanced in age, and during the battle, he sustained serious injuries. After recovering, he fell ill and was bedridden. Missing Abihai, he had her brought to him, but shortly after their reunion, Nurhaci passed away. Not long after, the long-planned Huang Taiji seized the opportunity to rise against the throne. He falsely claimed to convey Nurhaci's last wishes, ordering Abihai to be buried alongside him. Abihai, a weak woman with 3 young sons, found herself unable to resist Huang Taiji and was forced to comply. Historical records detail that Abihai was either strangled with a bowstring or chose to hang herself. Regardless, this moment reveals her helplessness and despair. Some historians explain why Hong Taiji harbored such hatred for Abihai. His biological mother, Mengguozhi, was never favored during her lifetime, and Hong Taiji himself was not valued by Nurhaci. Thus, he unleashed his pent-up rage upon Abihai. After ascending to power, he posthumously honored his mother as empress while erasing Abihai's name from the ancestral temple and historical records. As a vulnerable woman, Abihai could not contend with the forces of power. She never anticipated her tragic fate as a victim of political machinations. Later, after the Xuanji emperor ascended the throne, Abihai was posthumously honored as empress and titled filial, brave, respectful, benevolent, harmonious, and sacred empress. However, over time, her name gradually faded from history, occasionally mentioned only in the context of Qing Dynasty studies. It's worth noting that the practice of burial sacrifices originated in the spring and autumn period and was particularly prevalent during the era of slavery, reflecting a brutal and barbaric cultural phenomenon. In the late spring and autumn period, following the death of Duke Mu of Qin, the practice began to face scrutiny and rejection. At that time, he was buried with as many as 177 attendants, including 3 outstanding individuals, prompting societal reflection. After the spring and autumn period, human sacrifices were largely eliminated, replaced by wooden or clay figurines for burial. During the Warring States period, the state of Qin officially abolished human sacrifice in 384 BC. However, the death of Qin Shi Huang revived this practice. The number of attendants buried with Qin Shi Huang remains a mystery. But all historical accounts indicate it was the highest in history. The records of the Grand Historian states, the second emperor said, "All women in the late emperor's harem without children shall die alongside him," and the number of deaths was quite large. This implies that nearly all women in the harem were sacrificed, with conservative estimates suggesting over 1,000. By the Han Dynasty, the practice had mostly been abandoned, except among a few remote ethnic groups. However, during the Ming Dynasty, burial sacrifices not only revived but became increasingly extreme. During the reigns of Hongwu, Yongle, Renzong, Qianlong, and Jingdi, human sacrifice became customary in the royal family. After Hongwu's death, 40 concubines were sacrificed, with only 2 having died during his lifetime. The other 38 were sacrificed posthumously. After Renzong's death, 5 concubines were sacrificed. After Qianlong's death, 10 were sacrificed. The exact number of sacrifices for Jingdi remains unclear, recorded merely as various concubines, including Tang. Among Ming emperors, Yingzong Qizhen is regarded as the most ineffectual, yet he made a wise decision at his death, to abolish human sacrifice. The succeeding emperor, Xianzong, reiterated this ban before his death, respecting his predecessor's decision. The persistence of these 2 emperors finally brought an end to the Ming dynasty's extreme practice of human sacrifice. Some historians comment that Abihai's story serves as a warning that the game of power often comes at a cost. In a patriarchal society, women's fates are frequently overlooked. Through Abihai's experiences, we gain a deeper understanding of the plight of women in history and the profound impacts of power struggles. Abihai's life was filled with twists and tragedy. Her burial sacrifice not only marked the end of her personal fate but also mirrored the power struggles of early Qing dynasty politics. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.